show you guys a quick little video between different types of release styles today. 3D season coming up. One of my big pet peeves is trigger punchers. When I see people that just don't even get anywhere close to trigger and then just slap it. That's not the way to lead to accurate shooting. So we're going to try and give you a couple pointers here and lead you on the right road. First off, we're going to start with a couple different types of releases I have. We'll start with just your basic dual caliber straightaway release. This is a Scott Sabertooth. The reason I like this for a long time is everything's just straight down the center, both jaws open, and it's just a clean, straight down the center release. It's got a clean trigger on it. A lot of the Scotts do. The only thing I didn't really like about it was you couldn't set it. I like a trigger that's really hard trigger, a little bit more poundage on it, versus this one. I really couldn't set it to where I could get my pre-tension on there and then just slowly pull through it. But next we'll move on to the release I'm currently shooting right now. It is the Carter Like Mike. It is a hook release versus the dual caliber. So you do notice a slight change of impact between this and the dual caliper. For me anyway, hook releases, any type of hook release, a hinge, back tension, thumb trigger, will always shoot just a little bit to the left for me. Some are worse than others compared to the dual caliper just straight away. That's just the way they are. The loop has to go around the hook just a little bit once it's released, but it really doesn't hurt anything. It's not harder to tune. Don't let it worry you. I have in the past, and that's why I switched to the Scott. But like I said, it's not a big deal now. My favorite thing about this Carter Like Mike is the trigger tension. I can set this thing all the way up to a 5-pound trigger pull. And what that's nice is, as you can see, you can just, there's no way you can slap this thing and get it to go off. You have to apply a good bit of tension before it goes off. So for my style of shooting, and I'll show you that here in a minute, I'll wrap my finger all the way around this and I will just squeeze, pull until it goes off. And you can just really, you can't punch this thing, so it really makes you just focus on squeezing through the shot, pulling through it, and making that good clean shot. And then lastly, I'll show you my back tension release. This is a Carter Colby. This is a very old release, and this is a hinge release. What it is there's no trigger, no button. You simply will hook your D-loop right into here and then just rotate it. And I'll give you a little better example here. What I've done, I've just hooked up some loop to an old grip so I can practice with this thing. But as long as you pull from your index finger side, there's no way this thing can go off. You're not gonna punch yourself in the face, which I recommend with the hinge to start off with a piece of string like this. Don't start off with your bow, and make sure it's set up right for you, because you can adjust when this thing goes off. So don't set it super hot when you're starting off. But don't set it way too slow either. There's a happy medium in there you want to stick with. But you'll just get up here, and what I like to do, get into my anchor point and then kind of relax my index finger and then slowly rotate the release until it goes off. The idea behind these is you get a surprise release, so you can't anticipate the shot and punch it and make bad shots that way. Every once in a while I'll shoot this just to get into a good habit of looking for that surprise release. And that's what I try to do with my Carter Like Mike. I'm just a little more comfortable with my Like Mike, and I shoot it a little bit more consistently. So that's why I stick with it and not the hinge release. But yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll show you guys this. I'll go ahead and shoot a couple arrows and let you guys see how that looks. So stay tuned. Okay, we're gonna start off with the Scott Sabertooth, and I'll just run you through how I shoot this release or have in the past. Basic, simple, hook it on your D-loop, everybody knows that. And I like to set mine up a little bit shorter than a lot of guys do. I don't like to be, getting the camera there, I don't like to be reaching out way far from my release and just tipping it with the tip of my finger. Like I was showing you with the Carter, I like to wrap my finger around there and really pull through. As you can see here with this release, the tension, I can't set high enough where I can really get a good wrap on my finger. If I start applying pressure, it's gonna go. So I'll show you here my shot. I'll come up to my anchor, I'll wrap my finger around that trigger, and then I'll just slowly start applying pressure till the shot goes off. Now let's move on to the next release. Okay, I'll be shooting the hinge release this time so you guys can see it. Like I said, hook on your loop and make sure you pull. When you pull, you want most of your weight on your index finger. And you can set these up really slow where you can draw them with all your fingers on there, just a comfortable grip. I just got comfortable drawing with my index finger. That way I can set the release a little bit hotter, and it goes off in a more natural position for me. But that's all personal preference, guys. Set them up how it works for you. But we'll go ahead and run through this one. Like I said, pull with that index finger, come into your anchor position, and then just slowly start rotating the release until it fires. And that one, like I said, surprise release. It's no trigger, so you can't really get away with punching these. If you do have some target panic and are punching the trigger really bad, this is a good way to get over that in a fairly quick manner. So let's jump over to the Carter release. Alright guys, now we're ready to shoot this Carter release, and I'll show you the differences, the main difference between it and the Scott release here once I get to full draw. Like I said, the main difference is that trigger tension. So on this one, I can really hook my finger and I can really start to pull through this. And as you can see, it gives for me anyway as much a surprise release as my hinge does, just because you really have to apply tension to this thing. You can't just slap it, which I'll show you here. I'll set it up and I'll purposely try to slap the release like a lot of guys do. It just drives me crazy. There's no absolute way to shoot accurate that way. But as you can see here, as a lot of guys set them up, you'll see their finger floating. I have to get on to my girlfriend about this quite a bit. Well, I'll tell her to make sure she touches that trigger before she's ready to shoot. But you'll see them, and they'll go to slapping. If you set this thing with enough tension, there's no physical way you can just slap it off. You see, I'm hitting pretty good there. You have to wrap your finger and pull through it, which leads to a lot more consistent shot, guys. So I highly recommend looking into one of these Carters or any release that you can set a little bit hotter or a little bit higher on the trigger poundage. The one type of release I don't have is a thumb button release, which would basically be this style of body on a release, but you have your thumb button. You can set it off, draw it however you want. Doesn't matter how you get a hold of this thing. And then when you come to full draw, instead of just rotating, you just squeeze on your thumb button to set that off. A lot of guys like that. They feel a little more comfortable with their hand in this position. Just a personal preference. Again, guys, I've never really been able to shoot one very well. I haven't dedicated a whole lot of time to it. Maybe if I did, I could get consistent with it. But from what I have, I'll likely be sticking with my Carter like Mike for a very long time. So stay tuned, guys. Hopefully we'll get some more videos posted up here with 3D season coming up. So stay tuned and be sure to like and share our page. Share it with all your friends, guys. Fletch Deep TV.
Bye.